Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to share with you how I put together this card and all of the bits and pieces involved. This is a Z-fold, a double Z-fold card. It's got the Z-fold of the back and the Z-fold of the front to create this fun card. This is actually my card I used for a card making challenge called Hello Spring, because we've just started spring here in Australia and it's beautiful, all the flowers are blooming, and so I created this card. What I did do, now let me just pop this at the side for you. So this is the Z fold. To make a Z fold you just fold your cardstock in half and then in half again, and I've cut some white cardstock with a small border around the edge just inside each of my panels to delineate the Z fold. And over the top of the white I've got some vellum, which I've coloured with Stampin' Blends, and I'll give you a little bit. So this is I've prepared earlier and it's all dry, but you can actually add more alcohol and Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol-based markers, to add more colour. So for example, if I wanted a bit more here, maybe here and here, where I've used a bit too much alcohol and created white spaces, once it's all dry you can add a little bit more. And I've got some of this, it's 90%, at least 90% alcohol you need for this technique to work. And this is the alcohol that's available in Australia, and you can get that from Bunnings and Big W and places like that. Okay, so with an ordinary paintbrush, these are just some of our old aqua painters, I'm just dipping my brush into a bit of the alcohol, which I've just tipped out of the spray bottle, and just add little dabs of alcohol to where I've put my colour. You see it moving there, and just blending it all in. And also you can just flick your alcohol and it creates white spots. See all those extra white spots I've got there on my background? Isn't that fun? A little bit more there on this one, a little bit more on there. There you go. So I've just created a bit more movement and colour in my background. Close that up. It's very strong smelling, so you need to make sure you've got plenty of ventilation when you do it. Okay, so that's what I did for my background. I just basically coloured it in. I used Shaded Spruce, Old Olive, Granny Apple Green, I think that was all, and this, and a little bit of Bermuda Bay actually. Not that you can really tell, but all of those colours. So there's my Old Olive there, and some Granny Apple Green, and Bermuda Bay and Shaded Spruce. So that's all the colours I've used for my background. Now for the front of my Z fold, I have used again vellum, exactly the same as you do for your other Z fold, in half and in half again, but just in a different orientation. And I've stuck on the lovely fence from the sheep dies that you get in our Celebration catalogue. And I haven't got it in this pot, but I was just going to show you all of the dies that I used to create this card. So the fence is this little fence from the sheep dies, which are available for free in Celebration for every $90 you spend. So that's where that die comes from. But I have also used, for some of the greenery and some of the yellow flowers, so if you have a look at my card here, I'll just open that out so you can see. I've used these yellow flowers and some of the leaves, and there's leaves everywhere, but some of the leaves come from the Penned Flowers dies. I've used the Dandy Wishes dies for these pumpkin pie and mango melody flowers, okay, and I've used the grass and these little pointy ones from the Dandy dies in Granny Apple Green cardstock. Okay, so that's the Dandy Wishes dies. They've done a fair bit for me. The Pretty Pillow Box dies has these gorgeous teeny tiny flowers, which I've cut out using Poppy Parade cardstock. And you wouldn't think of that as a spring florally set, but they are the greatest little flowers. They're just beautiful. And then I've used the meadow dies, not for any flowers, but I've cut off the bottom half of some of those flowers to go behind some of these taller arrangements. And you'll see as I put the other one together, and also the butterfly dies from the meadow dies. And then the Forever Flourishing dies, I've used these two large ferny ones for the shrubs in the background. Okay, so let's get started putting this together. So I'm just going to put my fence down the bottom there. That's all dry now. The alcohol dries very quickly. So with my shaded spruce cardstock, I've cut out those two from Flourishing, the Forever Flourishing dies, and I'm just going to clip off the stalks there so that it actually looks quite shrub-like, both of those stalks. Now, to stick these on, you can use your liquid glue, but I'm a huge fan of mini glue dots, so I just went around and put hang on, this might be better this way, a glue dot on strategic leaves on each of the ferns. Make sure I get them all. I'm trying not to put my fingers on these glue dots as much as possible in order that they keep their adhesive ability as much as possible. I'm having trouble with this one. It's stuck to hair or something, I think. And then one more down over here. Okay, so that should be enough, because we're going to stick things over the top of it as well. So just pop that one down there. And then on this one, as I said, you can use the liquid glue to do exactly the same thing. Okay, 3 will be enough. And pop that one over there, that's my shrub. Now I've also got, let me put my fence over there out of the way for the minute. And I'll bring in, I've done all my die cutting already. Okay, so I've got all my Poppy Parade tiny flowers. They're going to be the last ones to be put on because most of them are in the middle of the Z fold. Okay, my Daffodil Delight, little penned flowers. There's some more of those Forever Flourishing dies for some extra leaves. So as you can imagine, the die cutting took a little bit of time, which is why I've done that all. There's my Dandy Wishes flowers. Okay, so there's all the flowers for you. My 2 butterflies, okay, which I'll put on very last. And then all of this is a whole bunch of greenery cut out from anywhere and everywhere. Alright, so I'll save a couple of these ones. Now I've got, can you see that? That's the bottom half of one of the meadow dies. So I've used Pear Pizzazz as well as Granny Apple Green for my greenery. There's one of the tall ones there. And then leaves. So tall ones, pointy grassy bits. Here's another one of the flourishing dies. If I just snip that in half, I'll be able to use that as some greenery. Now you could probably race off and grab a cup of tea while I'm sorting all this out, couldn't you? For your morning cuppa. Alright. So basically what I'm going to do, as you can see, I'm a little bit of a like things to be sorted out. I should have done this before. Okay, so all along here, along this edge, I'm going to stick bits and pieces, and especially underneath these two areas, because the fence will be stuck over the top of there and that end there, okay, and then it'll come out in the middle, and I'll stick behind here a lot of those grassy ones and the poppy parade flowers in front. Okay, so I can basically put my seal over here and just stick things randomly on, because that will be covered up by the fence later on, which will be stuck. Okay, so that will make preparing some of this a bit easier. So I don't want that too tall, and I can trim off once I've stuck all my bits and pieces on. I'll pop that one not too far down because the fence will be covering that up. One of these. And I'm trying to make a bit of a sort of a meadow look here. So there we go. I can get as busy as I like. One more of those for a bit of variation in colour. Okay, and then up this end as well. So that makes this part of it a little bit quicker. Okay, another tall one. This is the front of my card. So, and do remember I'm going to put a whole bunch of flowers and stuff all over these, so you won't see the chopped off tops at all. A couple of these little bits of grass, a pointy one poking out over there, so when you fold it it'll sit over the side and that'll look really cute. Okay, another one there. I need one more on the front, remembering I got to keep some for behind my fence in the middle. And now I do want to put a few little bits and pieces over the top of these shrubs here, but because they're not covered by the fence, I'll have to go back to my mini glue dot strategy. I'm not having much fun. This is a brand new roll that I've just started, and it's quite cool here today. Like, having said it's spring, it's quite cool for us here today, so that may be why my mini glue dots are not quite playing the game as well as they usually do. Okay, there we go, another one over here, and once again I'm going to be sticking flowers and all sorts of good things all over the top to create my whole maybe a bit of a trying for a cottage garden look. Not that something I'm particularly familiar with here in tropical Queensland, but I do love how it looks. Our garden has a lot of greenery, really, more than flowers, tree ferns and lots of ferns, but our orchids are looking stunning at the minute. Now for this one here, I actually cut out a lot more than I did for my previous card, so I may not end up using everything, but I could. Anyway, rightio. I'm going to just trim off, that one didn't stick obviously, trim off my extras there. Rightio. Now I'm going to stick my fence on so that I can see where to put my flowers, because I don't want to hide any underneath. And to put them onto, I'll need to put glue on again. So I'll put my seal on the back of my fence here and there. Okay, and stick that over here. And I'm going to fold my card in order to put my fence on, because ultimately this card needs to be folded to be posted. So there we go. How's that looking? Let's put on some flowers and see how we go with that. I'll put on my largest ones first. I'm just going to use some dimensionals on the back of those because they take up the most space, and then I can add the little ones in behind. Oops, there we go. There's my large one there. Okay, so a couple of large ones on the front. Oh, I mustn't forget to, I have my panel for the back of my card, so I need to make sure I leave a couple of flowers, and I could be doing that simultaneously at the same time. What if I just put a couple of these on the back? This is the writing panel. Because the front of the card's got so much action, you need to have something on the back to be able to write to your beloved when you're sending your card, or anybody. Okay, and a couple of bits of the, I don't want to take too many of them away. Alright, let's have a look. I'll put, you can see there when I stamped with the artistically inked stamp, I misstamped that one, so flowers going over the top of that. And put another flower there, another one over there, another one there. Now on the back of all of these little guys, so I'll put all my Dandy Wishes flowers on first. I'm just turning them all over to the wrong side to put on my mini glue dots this time. There's another. Now I might put a couple in behind on these shrubs in the background as well. Oh, did I take the back off that? No. Sticks better when you take the back off, Jules. And here we are. And there we go. Oh, a couple more for the back of my card. I'm lucky I got that there, otherwise I'd completely forget about doing that on the back. And there's the last one of, I might put that down low there. Okay. Do I need to put a couple of yellow ones on this? Let's go with putting these bits of grass behind my fence here and see how we go there for space. So once again with my mini glue dots, I'm just going to stick them behind like that. So you can't really see the adhesive behind your fence. I'm having a terrible time with my mini glue dots. My favourite ones are letting me down. They're really not wanting to stick. There we go. And that one down there. That one worked. Maybe I just wasn't using the right touch. Now on these ones I'm putting the mini glue dot onto the textured side of the die cut, because there is a textured side, there's little veins and detail, so that shows up on the front of the card. I need some more over here. Let's have a look, see how it's looking. There we go. One more on this big one. Now I may have to trim the end off there again. Don't need any hanging out below the fence. Cute little white picket fence. The Birthday Chicks dies also has a cute little picket white fence. Well, you can make it white with white cardstock as well. And one last piece here. And then we're back to the flowers again. Okay, so there's our greenery. And the next bit is just, we'll pop those in last, wherever we need some extra. It's these little guys. Stuck on with, rightio, on the front, a stack of them on the front of the card. Looking like petunias a little bit. And one up here, tuck that in behind there. Those penned flowers come in a couple of different sizes, which is very cool. Might put one hanging over the fence. There we go. How's that for the front? The other thing I need to put on the front, over the top of all this, is my hello greeting. Oh, cover up some of those gorgeous flowers. I'm going to use the edges of my dimensionals for that. Gives it a nice, there we go, hello. Okay, now the other area where there's lots of those lovely little yellow ones. Let's tear that off. Should I put a couple of yellow ones on the back as well? There's some over here. And some behind the grasses as well. There's one hanging over the fence. Cute. Tucked up there behind. So what I love about the cottage garden is I can just plop flowers anywhere and everywhere, and they sort of look, and because I've got so much greenery going on and the greenery in the background, to me they sort of look like they work. This is about the most gardening I ever do. I'm not a gardening person, so I used to be when I was single, and then having family, I just never got out into the gardens very much. And we have a lot of land here that my husband has to maintain, and some bush as well. So I enjoy the garden to look at, but I don't do much of it. Okay, tucking this underneath here. This is also helping to anchor some of those bits of greenery as well. Okay, pop some in here as well. I'm nearly done. Thank you if you're still here, if you didn't get too frustrated. Oh, good grief. Here we go. Lucky last yellow ones. And one up there. Okay, now the reason why I left, now I'm going to stick this one on the back because I think that one is complete. And what I was going to say is the reason I left the red ones to last is that I'm putting them on my middle section here, and I'm going to put them back to each other so that when your card folds they look the same on both sides. Let me illustrate what I mean. Okay, so a mini glue dot. Now these ones actually do better with me putting it on manually because I don't want to pull those petals apart. So I'm putting that on the back of the end of the grass there. Okay, and then another mini glue dot on the back of another one, and then there you go. So now it looks the same on the front and the back. Okay, so I'm going to do that all the way along there. And I'm sort of going to scrunch up the mini glue dot a little bit on the little ones. Okay. Roll it up a little so it doesn't quite show so much. And then back to back there. There we go. Alright. And then keep going, doing that all the way around the front there. And I will put a couple across the front of the fence because I like the look of the flowers falling over the fence. I think that's really cute. There we go. That looked great. They're the most beautiful. Now I could go all out and put rhinestones and whatnot, and I did seriously think about doing that with these flowers because that looks really cool. But in the end I thought there was enough colour and vibrancy happening without needing extra bling, even though bling is the thing that makes everything lovely. Did I get that one? Nope. There we are. I love how those flowers look. So delicate and perfect. I know that one's okay because it's in front. This one can go. And of course, when you're wanting a cottage garden, you need a profusion of flowers. So there is a lot of die cutting to create. Do I need one more? Yep, there. Back to back with that one. And then lucky last flower over there. Okay, so when you fold the flowers, there's the backs of the other one there. Okay, so that looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to tuck in a couple of these little extra leaves. Just tuck them in behind the fence there and stick that on. And then this one, oh look, there's another flower. Wouldn't it be fun if gardening was this easy and took this much time instead of waiting for the flowers to come out? I guess that's what makes it so special, is the waiting and the anticipation. Alright, and then my final little leaves, these little guys from the Forever Flourishing dies. Now I'm going to do the same thing with them and just sort of squish them in front behind the fence there. Just as a little bit of extra detail. There we go. Maybe they could be the weeds popping up, perhaps. And lucky last. And there is my Hello Spring card. How's that? Nothing's falling out, everything's sticking. Double check. There we are. I used lots of mini glue dots for that project, but I think it's worth it because it's so beautiful and so fun, and I love it how it's turned out. There you go, there's one. Oh, I forgot my butterflies. 1, 2, just put some dimensionals on them. Mini dimensionals, actually, because they fit inside the wings so perfectly, and this little one's sitting there on that flower, and this one can be up there. There we go, complete. So my 2 Hello Spring cards. Oh, and that was the other set of dies I used, was the messages dies for my hello greetings. I used 2 different ones there. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye.